Hi everyone, welcome to this week. We're going to be looking at expressions, including a new case called the locative. So we've talked about some place expressions before. With the ablative, they generally involve prepositions, right? So the ablative place from which, right? So the centurion walks from the temple. All right, to some extent, day, right? Down from. All right, place where. Where is the centurion? Centurio in templo est, in the temple. All right, technically sub counts as place where as well, so under the temple. So these are place expressions that we know and have dealt with before. They use the ablative plus a preposition. All right, so this is just from your textbook. And the key here is that we are going to be dealing with cities, towns, and small islands, all right, as well as the nouns domus and rus, and I'll talk about what a small island is a little later. But with that category of word, all right, you are not going to use a preposition. So the cases are going to be the same, but you are not going to use a preposition. So to which is still going to be the accusative, except there's no odd, right? So Romam, just to Rome. All right, place from which, same thing. It's still going to be ablative, but there will be no preposition. No no day, no a, something like that. All right, so from Rome, just Roma. All right, and then domus and rus as well. All right, and I'll let you read that. We're not going to go over that too much. It doesn't occur commonly enough really to spend too much time on. This top part is the more important part, so let's just focus on that. So cities, towns, small islands, domus and rus, no prepositions for place expressions. All right, now, the previous slide dealt with place to which and place from which use the ablative with no preposition for cities, towns, and small islands. For place where, which is essentially in or at, something like that, they will actually use this category, cities, towns, and small islands, a new case called the locative. All right, so the locative is, as I said, sort of a separate case, but it uses endings that we're familiar with. All right, so for first and second declension singular nouns, the locative equals the genitive. All right, and then for everything else, the locative equals the ablative. All right, so if we look over here at these examples, okay, so Roma has Roma, Romai. All right, so this is a first declension singular noun, so the locative is going to be Romai, which looks like the genitive, excuse me, but in reality is the locative. All right, and you can see there, Carthagine, all right, below, let me actually get rid of some of those lines, Carthagine below there, all right, that is a third declension noun, so because it is in the all else category, it uses the ablative for the locative, all right, and then in the plural as well. All right, so Athenes, that is a plural noun. Again, it is not a first and second declension singular noun, so it uses the ablative for the locative. Okay? There is no real English equivalent for the locative in terms of how nouns are treated differently, but the noun home sort of falls into this category. So, for instance, I can say, like, I'm going to my house, right? A traditional prepositional phrase. I can also say I'm going home, right? The noun home doesn't use a preposition. It's got that sort of direction built into it. That, to some extent, is how these nouns work, or these categories of places work. That's not so much the locative. Home is more of the place to which. All right, although I guess you can say I'm sitting, well, no, you'd probably say I'm sitting at home. So anyway, but that's the same idea. As we go home, as that noun in that particular usage doesn't use a preposition, so too do these cities, towns, and small islands not use prepositions for any of their place expressions. So no odd for to which with the accusative, no from which with the ablative, and then for place where, the locative, and that's this case here. All right, so let's talk cities, towns, and small islands. It sounds a little silly, small islands, I should say, but there's actually a logic to it. So this is the coast of Massachusetts, all right? That's where I live, not on the coast, but in Massachusetts. And off the coast of Massachusetts are two islands, Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket. All right. They're about the same size. Martha's Vineyard is a little bigger, all right, sort of geographically, area-wise. But grammatically, one is a big island and one is a small island. And the way that you tell that is for something to be a small island, all right, what you need is one town, one major town, and the name of that town to be the same as the name of the island. So the island is Nantucket, and the primary town on Nantucket is called Nantucket. That makes Nantucket a small island. On Martha's Vineyard, on the other hand, excuse me, Martha's Vineyard is obviously the name of the island. There is no town named Martha's Vineyard, and there are plenty of, well, not plenty of, but 4 other big towns, none of which have the name Martha's Vineyard. Chilmark is actually a pretty small town, but there's Vineyard Haven, and I'm forgetting the 4th. Anyway, so Martha's Vineyard, grammatically, large island, or at least not small island. All right, so for a small island, one major town, and the island has the same name as that town. All right, this is the seal of Holy Cross, also where I live, actually in the city where I live. And you can see in the motto right here the name of the college. So Collegium Sancti Crucis, College of the Holy Cross. And then down here, Wigorney Mass. And Wigorney is, sorry, wrong color. There we go. All right. So Wigorney is Wigornium. All right, E. It's the second declension noun. It might be masculine, actually, Wigornius. I suspect it's neuter, but I'm not sure. Anyway, that's the Latin word for Worcester, which is where Holy Cross is and happens to be the city where I live. But this Wigorney, right, that is the locative. That is that genitive singular, or looks like genitive singular, for a second declension singular noun. So, College of the Holy Cross and Wigorney Mass in Worcester, Massachusetts. All right. So that bottom, that Wigorney, is the locative form of Worcester. All right. And so just to practice, all right, I'm just using a picture of the Colosseum to stand in for Rome. All right. So if I wanted to say in Rome, that's place where, and it's a city, so I'd use the locative, Romi. And again, we talked about Roma is a first declension noun, singular, so its locative looks like the genitive. If I want to say in the city, not a city, town, or small island, I'd say in, right, there's that preposition, plus the ablative. All right. If I want to say from Rome, I just say Roma, just the ablative, no preposition. If I want to say from the city, I'd say ab orbe. All right, so there's that preposition, right, because it's not a city, town, or small island. To Rome, now we're dealing with the accusative because it's placed to which, but there is no preposition, and then to the city ad orbem. All right, so just a comparison of a sort of locative using noun or a city, town, small island, and a non-city, town, small island for saying the same expression. All right, so here is an exercise. So basically, you're just identifying whether or not these English phrases would use a preposition or not in Latin. So you're basically identifying whether the nouns are cities, towns, or small islands. Remember, rus and domus are part of that. All right. So from home, number 5, that is the noun domus. So it would not use a preposition. All right, number 4 above, to Carthage. That is a city, so it would not use, a preposition. Number 9, from Africa. That is not a city, town, or small island, so it would use a preposition. And same with Gaul. It is not a city, town, or small island, so it would use a preposition. All right, so you know the drill. Pause if you put some answers. All right. All right, now, next step, we are choosing the Latin for the underlined English. So same thing. You have to identify city, town, or small island, all right, and then figure out whether it would need a preposition. So, number 10, all right, it's not a place expression, right? It's just the name of the city. So you just need your straight old nominative plural. Athens is a plural noun. All of these are plural. So Athenae is the correct answer. But again, you're only dealing with these questions if you're dealing with a place expression. Number 10 does not deal with a place expression. All right, Augustus lives in Rome. So first, city, so no preposition. Second, it's expressing place where, right? Where does he live? He lives in Rome. So that's going to need the locative, and we know that the locative of Rome is Romi. All right, and then Hannibal arrived from Spain, not a city, town, or small island. So it will use the preposition. From is the ablative, and of course ab, so it's going to be ab Hispania. All right, I'll leave it for you. Here are some answers coming up. All right. All right. Oh, you know what? Add the summative slide. But anyway, these are the summatives, so we've got some reading. All right. Postquam Romani et Albani utrim questabant cum paucis militum in medium duces procedunt. All right, so that's our first sentence, obviously. The verb comma combo there is going to tell us that that's the end of a clause. Postquam, of course, as we learned a few weeks ago, is a clause word. All right, so after the Romans and the Albans stood on either side, were standing on either side. All right, the leaders proceed with a few of the soldiers into the middle. All right, so a couple things. I mean, was standing isn't really going to take a direct object. There are no prepositional phrases, and the et tells you, plus the I ending, that those two are subjects. So relatively straightforward sentence, conjunction, subject, adverb, verb. So after the Romans and the Albans were standing on each side. All right, now moving on, you might think that cum could be a clause word as it comes at the beginning of a clause, but paucis is ablative, which suggests that what happened there? Sorry about that. I think I lost my pointer. Paucis is ablative. There it is, ablative ending, which suggests that cum could be the preposition, taking an ablative object, and it makes sense. So after the Romans, the Albans were standing on each side, cum paucis prepositional phrase, militum genitive. Probably going to go with paucis because it makes sense, few of the soldiers. In medium prepositional phrase, duces on its own, plural, procedunt plural, so that's going to be our subject. So after the Romans and the Albans were standing on each side, the leaders proceeded with a few of the soldiers into the middle. All right, I'll do one more sentence. Tum Albanus dux dicit, cupido imperii duos populos ad arma stimulat. All right, so tum then, the Alban leader says, a desire for power inspires, stimulates, two peoples to arms. All right, so first part, pretty straightforward, especially with the quote coming. Albanus is an adjective agreeing with dux. So then the Alban leader says, cupido is a little tricky because that O ending makes it look like an ablative, but it's actually a third declension noun whose nominative happens to be cupido, so that is the nominative, all right? And then this imperii, we can say desire of power. I'm not sure we'd say that in English, desire for power. Probably sounds a little bit better, but either way, imperii is a genitive going with cupido. All right, now here's our kind of subject-predicate break, because duos populos is the accusative, direct object of stimulat, and then ad arma, just a prepositional phrase. So desire for power inspires two peoples, all right, two arms or two war, something like that. All right, I will leave the rest for you. Forgot. Sorry about that. Yep. Here is the writing summative, so English to Latin. All right, so you will have walked 8 miles. All right. You, pretty straightforward, will have walked. That's going to be our future perfect active. So that's third principal part. So, plural, right? All right. So, veritas. All right. So, third principal part plus the future forms the verb to be. And then 8 miles is going to be accusative duration. All right. So, octo milia possuum. And milia possuum is a standard form, just stays genitive. Milia possuum is just the Latin expression for mile. Octo, of course, makes it 8. Octo is the indeclinable noun for 8. All right, and I'll leave the other ones to you. That is it for this week. Thank you. Please email me if you have any questions. And that is it.